Good morning, Terry Ensberg here. Today's quote is People say nothing is impossible, but I do nothing all day. And the author of that quote is Winnie the Pooh. I relate a lot to this since the pandemic. For one reason or another, I've been home a lot. We were all home in the spring during the long shutdown. But since then, I've been home because I thought I might have been exposed to COVID and I was waiting for test results. And just home more in general, because of my age and my husband's age and health status, I just do not go out shopping randomly like I used to. And what I found is that the forced, what would I call it? Being sedentary for sure, but also just being without the usual distractions of shopping, going around and visiting friends so much, all that kind of stuff. It's left me to really be in my own mind or my own life. And a number of things has grown out of that. One is that I've taken up container gardening, growing vegetables in containers. And I've enjoyed that so much. It never fails to astonish me how food comes out of dirt. It just doesn't look possible. And you plant something in dirt, and then one day you walk past it or you go to water it, and there's a bell pepper or tomato, squash, whatever. And when I see that, I personally feel struck by the hidden intelligence behind everything. I look at the amount of order or organization that goes into pulling a squash from dirt and think, I just don't buy it that that's random. Everybody sees it differently, and this may not be especially, based in science, but it feels wonderful in the true sense of the word, where I am filled with wonder when I see it. Wondering, like, how could this happen? How does, really, how could this happen without a plan? It looks so planned, and not by anyone who's not really smart. It looks like a high level plan to me. Another thing that I've been doing since I've been home a lot more than usual is playing mahjong. And I have never been a game person, never wanted to play games, never felt motivated. I'm not competitive by nature. So the thing that motivates a lot of people in games, which is to wanting to win, has not been there for me until I learned mahjong. And a good friend taught it to me, and I play with her and another really close girlfriend. And I also play against the computer on an app. And it is so riveting. It can take your mind off anything. And it's so delicately balanced between being difficult, like doable but difficult, so that you're right on the edge of thinking, this is too hard, I'm not going to do this anymore, but you do it again. And as I've gotten a little better, then that scale has tipped a little bit more toward it not being so hard. But uh, it's such a rush to win, and it's really been a wonderful distraction from the political tumult and the pandemic and the deaths and the scariness of it all. Another thing that I have taken up that I was never even a little interested in is doing jigsaw puzzles. And one thing I've learned is when you're doing a puzzle and you find a piece that fits, the thrill is addicting. And I know you're probably thinking, how could anybody find doing jigsaw puzzles thrilling? But if you've been searching for a piece and finally you find one that fits, or a part of the puzzle comes into focus in a new way, it's a rush. And now I'm really hooked on that. I'm getting better as I go along, so it gets to be more fun. Uh, the one of the and one of the things the pandemic has taught me is that even in the worst things, there is some good that comes from it. There are friends I've grown closer to. There are skills I've improved on, like cooking. I've cooked a lot at home, and I've really grown in the area of cooking. Never been a fan of cooking, done it because I had to, but never a hobby for me. And now it's starting to take on the feel of a hobby, and I'm starting to enjoy it and plan it and integrate it into a day that has pleasure in it and has enriching things in it. And what first at the beginning of the pandemic felt like a desert of just being stuck at home, and I've always loved being home, but of course not all the time. But what seemed like a desert at first now seems more like a garden. Like the things that are available to me in a limited space turn out to be much more than I thought they would be. And with FaceTime and Zooming, I'm at least as connected with other people as I've ever been, maybe more. And looking back on this, if this ends, if this chapter wraps up, in the next few years, I'm going to think to myself, that was a very social time in my life, even though I didn't see people very much in person. So when I think back to the quote, people say doing nothing nothing is impossible. It's really, nothing is a rich field for possibilities. Nothing isn't nothing. Nothing is the potential for something. And I guess that would be the lesson from the last several months. Thank you so much for listening. I really appreciate it. Talk to you next time. Bye.